Yeah.
I used to dream about showing the world what I dream about. Forget a mic, my whole life I thought it'd be the mouth. I guess it's fitting how life threw me the curveball. Pops told me work till you make it, man, then work more. I guess I took that to heart, cause I've been working harder now than I...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The first Mom's Basement of 2017. I don't know what you were just doing.
I didn't know we were starting.
Well, we're going right into
Well,
it.
let's just do it.
First Mom's Basement of 2017. New year, new teeth, right?
For him.
For me. So I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so we're back. We're better than ever. But we just want to announce real quick, we have joined the crossover report. So we are joining them, and it's going to be a great experience. Really excited to work with them. So for those of you who don't know who I am Joe. I am the host of Mom's Basement, Mind Over Matter Sports. I'm 21, go to North Central College in Naperville. Sports background, I basically follow all the main sports, MLB, NFL, NBA. Super close for like my whole life, so it's a passion. It's really what I want to do, something in the sports world. So that's me. This is my co-host Corey. Corey, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, what's up, guys? My name's Corey. I am the co-host of Mom's Basement. Joey brought me on after the first couple episodes, and I've been permanent here ever since.
Sick.
22 years old. I am one semester away from graduating with my nursing degree from Lewis University. So I'm just kind of Joey's little compliment here. My background in sports. I'm a big White Sox fan, Bears fan, Bulls fan. I played football in high school for Providence Catholic, so when it comes to the X's and O's of football, I'm pretty good with that stuff. And, I keep up on sports on the regular, so I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, all right. We took a little, holiday break. I had surgery also in those few weeks, so that is why you have not seen us. But we're back. We're ready to get into it. I'm super excited. I've been itching, you know what I mean? Itching. Alrighty, so today we got little MLB, not much, obviously, because it's, January right now, so NFL's, the Bears season's over, we're going to talk a little bit about them. We got the National Championship in college football coming up this Monday night, and then we got the Bulls basically doing exactly what I said they'd be doing. We're just going to touch on that again, and that's all we really got for you guys today, so let's jump right into it. Corey, you want to talk about the White Sox a little bit? They haven't made any moves, but there's a little rumors buzzing around, stuff like that.
Yeah, as far as the White Sox go right now, it's been over a month since they've had any activity, really. They made the two big trades for trading away Chris Sale and Adamina at the beginning of last month. Their farm system's gone from number 23 overall in baseball to number 4 in baseball, so the future is looking a lot brighter on the south side. And they are in full tank mode. They signed Giovanni Soto, who is an awful catcher, who was probably going to make the opening day roster. The tanking is in full effect, and I couldn't be more excited for it.
Yeah. Real quick, before I forgot to announce this at the beginning, it slipped my mind. I'll do it before we really get into some stuff. New merch just dropped on teespring.com/themomsbasement. We got 5 new items out. So a lot of variety here. With we got a raglan tee, we got V-neck tees, regular tees, hoodies, tank tops. So you guys should go check that out. Really appreciate any support we get. I think it's really cool design. Shout out Kuzo once again. He's nice on the sticks. So thank you, Jake, for that. So teespring.com/themomsbasement. Really cheap stuff. So I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys pick up some merch. Help us out. All right, Corey. Thank you for covering the White Sox. I appreciate that. Sorry if I sound a little weird, too. I'm still getting used to talking with this thing, and you know what I'm saying?
All right, we're good.
It took me a while. It took me a while to get S's and F's down, but I'm pretty close. So NFL, Bears retained John Fox and basically the whole staff. Pretty bummed about it, if you ask me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, they're using injuries as an excuse, and I don't think injuries were the key problem. Well, they were a problem, but they weren't the only problem. When you're 3-13, lots of things have to go wrong, and I think they should have fired Dowell Loggins, who is their offensive coordinator, especially with the San Diego Chargers firing Mike McCoy, who's had experience before working with John Fox in Denver, I believe. So you had the perfect opportunity to upgrade the...
I like Mike McCoy.
I like Mike McCoy too, and they had the perfect opportunity to upgrade the offensive coordinator's position, and they just didn't do it.
They basically stand pat everywhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the injuries. That's what they're gonna plead that to ownership and Ryan Pace. So The Bears obviously have number 3 pick in the draft, but they're also going to have probably around $70 million in cap space, and that could mean a lot of things for them going into next season. So, free agent targets. The secondary is obviously a huge issue. I mean, Tracy Porter, that guy doesn't belong in the league, in my opinion. Kyle Fuller, he's been inconsistent, even if he can even get on the field. So, cornerback, you've got M.O.M.S. as a safety, but you're going to need another safety to complement him. So, we got what, 3 guys down here? 3 guys down here that are free agents this year that the Bears could potentially look to add 1 or 2 of them. Eric Berry, if you know anything about Eric Berry, he actually just beat cancer. Last year, came back and was a phenomenal safety once again this year. So
he's probably top 3 safety in all of football.
Absolute warrior. Nothing but respect for Eric Berry.
He's going to be a free agent this year, and he's looking for big money. He's 28 years old, and Bears got the money. I would drop the money on Eric Berry if I could, and
market value is 5 for about $49 million on Eric Berry, so that's about $9.9 million per season. I think that's totally fine, especially if we've got this money to spend. He would instantly make you so much better in the secondary to pair him with M.O.M.S.
And a 5-year deal isn't the end of the world for someone who's 28 because that'll carry him until he's 32.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's perfectly fine by me paying the money, especially if you got it.
Right. Tremaine Johnson, cornerback. Also a free agent, going to want a lot more money. He's looking for basically what Richard Sherman money is, $14.1 million per for probably about 4 years. So cornerbacks in this league, you've got to pay for it. There's just no way around it. There's not enough really good corners. I mean, you look, Darrelle Revis, who's not even an elite corner anymore, is just still making big money with the Jets. So you have to pay for corners. I think the Bears should 100% go out and get Tremaine Johnson.
Yeah, I would think so too. Tremaine Johnson's big body. I think he's 6'2", 200 plus, so he can help mix up with the bigger wide receivers in football. And you know what? Combining Tremaine Johnson with Eric Berry makes the Bears secondary a lot more intimidating and makes that defense a lot better, which already has a pretty solid front seven.
And they were ranked, 7th in the league in defense?
Well, when we did our last show, that was going into the last week of the season where they just kind of got, wrecked.
Right.
So
we'll say top 10. You want to say top 10?
I think they definitely have a top 10 caliber defense, and if you add an Eric Berry and a Tremaine Johnson, you put them in an elite class of defense.
Right.
So then you need to focus on the offense then going forward. So.
And then last guy we have down is Prince Amukamara. He's another cornerback. You probably get him for cheaper. He used to be on the Giants. He was in Jacksonville for a while, for I think the last 2 seasons. So another cornerback. He's obviously going to be less money than Tremaine Johnson. I'd say probably anywhere from $6 to $10 million a year.
Yeah.
Even if he gets that much, I mean, he'd be a guy that would complement. Say you don't get Berry, but you sign Johnson and Amukamara. That would kind of probably be where they would go. I think. I mean, he's a solid corner, nowhere near the level that Tremaine Johnson is.
Yeah, former first-round pick in Prince Amukamara. He was. Coming out, he was never much of a ball hawk, I would say. They never really threw his way in his last year of college. There's still a lot of tools you can work with there, but he shouldn't be, A-list free agent number 1 for the Bears. You should go after Eric Berry and then Tremaine Johnson. And if you can't get Johnson, you can settle on Amukamara.
And I want to talk about the possible options at quarterback that will be available. Now this one I doubt. I highly, highly, highly doubt Washington is letting Kirk Cousins take the market. But we're just going to say, for the sake of the conversation, that he is, and so is Tyrod Taylor, because it looks like Buffalo's going to decline that option.
For some reason.
Which is, bonkers, if you ask me. Because E.J. Manuel and Cardale Jones, those are their
They think they can do better. They think they can draft a better quarterback. I don't understand.
No, that's...
Tyrod Taylor is a very good quarterback.
He's a lot better than what I thought he would ever turn out to be.
Oh, yeah,
Backing
absolutely.
up Flacco in Buffalo definitely helped him out, I think, to turn into a really decent quarterback. I had him on one of my fantasy teams this year. He was not that bad. I took him in like the 13th round. I just stacked skill players, and then Tyrod Taylor was, mediocre, which is okay for what my team needed. So, yeah, I definitely think he could be a viable option for the Bears. I don't know what kind of money he'd be looking at.
That's
gotta
a
think
really good question.
It's over $14 million probably.
Yeah, and I feel like because he's going to be cut, you can have him for cheaper than, I think, slightly cheaper than the going rate for some quarterbacks because he's a running quarterback, so there's always an injury risk with running quarterbacks.
Sure.
And again, it's sort of similar to the Jay Cutler situation where he's not going to be the quarterback that is going to be your Aaron Rodgers and guide you to a championship, but you know what? He can keep you competitive, and he could be a good placeholder for a year or two while you develop a quarterback that you drafted. And I think the Buffalo Bills are absolute morons for cutting Tyrod Taylor.
I don't get it.
But assuming that does happen, I would love to see the Bears go.
Did you hear how they actually fired Rex Ryan?
Like the process for firing him?
Yeah.
No, tell me.
Like they were in their weekly press conference, so it's the GM, obviously Rex, and then the owner. They're in their weekly their conference call or whatever, you know. And Rex Ryan he asked the owner, he's like, so what are we looking like for next season? What's the vision kind of for next year? What steps are we taking to prepare? And the owner's like, and he mutes the GM out of it. So now it's just him and Rex talking. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna move on from you. And Rex is like, oh, okay. I read an article on this. I was like, what? Like, the GM had no idea. They continued the call. They got off the call or whatever, and then the GM was then informed that Rex would no longer be working with him. Like,
that team is such a mess. You fire a coach that way, and then you're losing your starting quarterback, and you're cutting your starting quarterback. And if I thought the Bears had no direction, the Buffalo Bills are much worse off.
God, I thought that was so funny. I mean, I like Rex Ryan. I always have. I've always been a nice fan of his, but he definitely needs to start taking a defensive coordinator position somewhere instead of trying to be a head coach.
Yeah, his brother needs to just retire.
God, he first get a haircut.
Yeah, and then retire.
Yeah, so we talk about Tyrod Taylor, Kirk Cousins, you know, probably 2% chance this guy's even
Yeah,
available.
I don't think he's hitting the market. I think.
Say he did, what's his value? Over $20 million a year. If he
Yeah, probably free agent quarterbacks, especially with the numbers he's put up. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Kirk Cousins. I think he's a product of a great system and a great set of wide receivers and a great tight end. But with the numbers he's put up, yeah, he's going to make $20+ million on the market, whereas Tyrod Taylor probably doesn't make that much. So I feel like Tyrod Taylor has more value. But again, I don't see Washington letting him go. If they can't get him long term, they're going to franchise him again.
I get the whole value thing with Tyrod Taylor, but I'm not like high. I'm not as high on the receivers as you are in Washington. Like Deshaun Jackson, he's hit or miss. He basically just runs straight lines. Jamison Crowder had a good year this year, but I mean, will that continue? I mean, he's a 3 at best. Jordan Reed, I get, is an elite tight end, but he didn't really play much this year. He wasn't that impactful this year. And Pierre Garçon is 30 now. I think he's a pending free agent also.
They also drafted a wide receiver in the past draft, Josh Doxson, in the first round, who some people said was the top wide receiver in that draft.
TCU, right?
Yeah, TCU.
Yeah, so I'm not thinking their receiving core is like dominant or anything like that. I still think New York's better off. And who else did I say had a better receiving core?
That's a great question.
I forget. We were literally talking about this 2
We were
minutes
talking
ago.
about it right before the show started.
Oakland with Crabtree and Amari Cooper. Come on, that's dominant right there. And I also don't think Washington really had much of a run game. So, I mean, Kirk Cousins was doing a lot of stuff on his own here and had no help from a run game. Like Matt Jones, they had a Robert Kelly dude or whatever. So they haven't really had a consistent run game for years. I think Jay Gruden's system is nice, but I still think he could thrive elsewhere, and I think he would be worth some money if he actually hit the market. I like Kirk Cousins. I think, Washington fans, you look at that draft, RG3 at number 2, you get Kirk Cousins later on. Boy, would they love to have those picks back. All right, so let's look at the draft for the Bears now. Corey, obviously you need a quarterback, but other than a quarterback, say they go top 2, Garrett's there. Garrett's the consensus number 1, in my opinion.
And I think he's actually going to end up going number 1 to the Browns. I don't, some of these teams, they reach for a quarterback. I think if Myles Garrett falls to number 3, I think Ryan Pace will sprint to the podium himself and announce the pick.
You hope.
Yeah, you hope. I mean, he's the best pass rusher in this draft. He's the best player in this draft. The Bears will likely settle on a 5 technique or maybe a quarterback like Mitch Trubisky or Deshaun Kaiser. But, yeah, the quarterback depth in this draft is actually nicer than previous years. So I think the Bears might try to get a defensive stud at number 3 or trade down and grab a quarterback in 2.
What are your thoughts on is it Josh Allen, the Wyoming quarterback?
The Wyoming quarterback, yeah, Josh Allen. I think he's incredibly raw right now. Yeah. I think he's worth a second-round pick. But everything I've seen says that he's possibly returning back to Wyoming.
Right.
But he's got all the tools there. He just probably wouldn't be ready to start day 1.
And I saw on Twitter from Aaron Lemming, the M.O.M.S. quarterback. What have you heard about him?
Absolute cannon for an arm. He makes plays with his feet. He can roll out of the pocket, throws an absolute dart of a ball. I mean, the guy, again, he's going to need some time.
Which a lot of these guys do anyway. So
none of them are finished
It's
products.
not Andrew Luck coming out of school.
Absolutely not. No. So a guy like Mahomes or a guy like Allen declares, and you can take them at the top of round 2 with a defensive stud like Solomon Thomas or Jonathan Allen in round 1. I would prefer that combination over taking, a corner in 2 and taking a quarterback in 1.
Right. Yeah, I heard Lemming say that Mahomes could be the best quarterback in this draft.
Yeah, he's a really, really high ceiling, but he's a really low floor.
Right.
So he's incredibly risky, and that's another thing you have to consider with who would the Bears be developing, using to develop him. And, if you're not a fan of Donald Loggins, which I am not, I don't know if I trust him with the quarterback's development.
Sure.
But if you had Mike McCoy on that staff, I would trust Mike McCoy to develop a quarterback.
And one of the things that I think is helping the Bears throughout this process is that the fact they're going to coach the Senior Bowl this year. So they're going to get that extra look at a lot of these guys and be able to see what they can do firsthand. I think that really helps them in the long run. Taking with the number 3 pick, this is something you do not want to mess up.
Yeah, and it's not just the number 3 pick either, but they have high round picks in every round afterward. Right. A lot of these guys who we're talking about, Josh Allen's not a senior, and all these players, but it helps your draft depth when you're looking in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. Those are the rounds that define your draft, because if you can find a starter in that late round, your draft is that much more successful.
Sure.
So it's easy when you're picking 3rd overall and the dartboard's not that far away. But as you get further and further away in the later rounds, it's important with your scouting, and the Senior Bowl only helps that.
And that's something that Ryan Pace has actually been able to do fairly well, is find guys that can contribute or start in rounds 3, 4, 5, 6.
I mean, Adrian Amos in the 5th round his first year, Jordan Howard in the 5th round his second year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
second leading rusher in the entire league.
Yeah, and he didn't play the first 3 games.
Right.
So, yeah, I think Ryan Pace is going to use his scouting department very well at the Senior Bowl.
All right, that's enough about the Bears. We're going to move into college football real quick, talk about this national championship. A repeat of last year, Alabama, obviously the biggest powerhouse in college football right now. They seem to be in it every year against Clemson, who have kind of just come on the scene in the coming years here. Their second consecutive national championship appearance, that's huge. I think Dabo Swinney's a hell of a coach.
Yep, and
hell of a coach.
You've got, Deshaun Watson there and Mike Williams, a great combination.
It's a prolific offense, but can they put up enough points against that Bama defense?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think they win the game. I do think, obviously Lane Kiffin is gone. Alabama, they left him at the at the Peach Bowl.
He's been left. I think that's the second time.
That's like the 3rd time this has happened to him.
Yeah.
So he moves to Florida Atlantic. He's now the head coach there, which I was shocked about. I mean, you had to think he had some sort of better offer.
Alabama's a great platform. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
I think you would rather be a coordinator at Bama than...
Feels like taking a step down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But back to the championship game itself, Alabama's got NFL talent just everywhere on that defense. Everywhere. I don't think that they're going to shut down Clemson, but I think they're going to do enough to where I think they can squeak out another national championship.
I think they'll win. I hope it's a game, because last year was not a game.
I mean, Alabama's just too good.
Yeah, and Nick Saban, he's an SOB, but he's a good coach.
And he knows college football.
Yes. Now, what if, say, Jonathan Allen decides, national championship, NFL money, I'm going to sit out. We've seen it happen already.
Yeah.
Man, they were meaningless bowl games. But,
with like Jabril Peppers and players like that.
Sure. Leonard Fournette.
God, if he sits out, I still think that they'll find a way. I still think Bama finds a way to...
No, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I mean,
it's speculation, sure. But, I get that Jonathan Allen's a key cog in that defense, but I trust Nick Saban's coaching in college football over anybody else.
Sure.
So
yeah, I mean, I really hope it's a good game. I'll be watching. So
I think it will be a decent game for sure. It's hard to pick against Bama.
Bama's got a lot of talent. Clemson actually does have 2 guys that'll probably go top 10 in the aforementioned Watson and Mike Williams. So hopefully their offense can just put on a show like they did. I mean, they beat the hell out of Ohio State, which I didn't think was going to happen.
No, I didn't think that either.
Yeah,
but
no. Sorry. Well, guess what, Corey?
What's going on, Joe?
we forgot that it's actually NFL playoffs today, and we're watching it. It's on. I can hear it right now.
Breaking the fourth wall. Sorry, guys.
We're going to talk about the Sunday games real quick. We've got Packers, Giants, and Steelers, Dolphins tomorrow.
Yeah, guys. Right now, the Texans are beating the Raiders 20-7.
Indeed.
So that's how you know we're recording right now, and you know when we're recording.
Yes. So first off, Dolphins, Steelers. I'm going to pick the Steelers in this one.
Yeah, same here.
Matt Moore starting at quarterback for the Dolphins, not looking too good. That offense in Pittsburgh is way too elite. Obviously having the best running back and the best wide receiver in football, and of course Ben Roethlisberger, who's already won a Super Bowl. That just bodes so well for you as a team. And Mike Tomlin's a good coach. Defense is good enough. They're going to put up a lot of points tomorrow. I think they're going to win by at least 10.
Yeah, I don't think there's any contest. Adam Gase has done pretty well his first year as a head coach.
Has.
You know, makes me a little jealous, but yeah, they don't have enough. It's not going to happen. Good try, Dolphins, but GG.
And the real game tomorrow.
Yep.
Giants and Packers. This is going to be a great game.
Yeah, fun fact, Eli Manning and Aaron Rodgers have the same amount of wins at Lambeau Field in the playoffs. They both have 2 wins at Lambeau Field.
Even more fun fact, one of them will have one more win than the other at Lambeau after tomorrow night.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing.
That's crazy right there.
This guy and his math, I don't even know how it works.
First of all, I only did one math class for my entire major.
Yeah, that's...
And it was naughty. It was like routes and stuff. Like, how do you get from point A to point B? Thank God.
Back to the game,
because
though.
I can't do math.
Back to the game, though.
Yeah, so Eli versus Aaron. The Packers are just on a hot streak, but the Giants, I think, are so good.
The Giants have a championship-level defense, and the Packers do not.
Yes.
Let's just put that lightly. The Packers do not have a good enough defense to take them to a championship. They do have the best quarterback, who may be the best quarterback who's ever lived, in Aaron Rodgers. And I think it's going to be a real good game.
What did you just say? The best quarterback that's ever lived?
Yes.
Really?
He could go down as that.
That's bold, man.
He has. I think at this moment he's got the highest passer rating of all time.
All right, he only has one championship.
Okay, well, Dan Marino never had a championship.
That's true.
But back to the game, though, I think this is going to be a really good game, really close game.
Sure.
For some reason, I just have this feeling that the Giants squeak it out. I don't know why. It's just Eli's beaten the Packers in the playoffs multiple times, and they can't stop Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't hear Damon Snacks Harrison's quote about never being to the playoffs, he goes to the playoffs in Madden every year.
And he won with Rodgers in the playoffs in Madden.
So he's ready.
Yeah, he's ready to go. That defense is ready to go. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bitter, cold, close game, and I think the Giants can squeak it out.
Man, I'd love to pick the Giants too, but I'm gonna pick the Packers.
Yeah, I can't fault you for picking the Packers.
You can't go wrong in this game.
Yeah.
I just think it's gonna come down to the last drive. Whoever's got the ball last. I think it's gonna be Aaron Rodgers just dialing it in.
If I was to show you tomorrow's game and it's like a 20-19 game, and you see the Giants winning or you see the Packers winning, you wouldn't be surprised.
I won't be surprised either way. No.
I think it's gonna be the Packers aren't gonna score as much as they should. And I think it's going to be kept to a close game, and I think either team can pull it out.
Sure, I think either team, whoever wins this game, could easily win the NFC.
Oh yeah, I think this game is one of those where you could be deciding the NFC representative in the Super Bowl this early, because none of the other teams in the NFC are that impressive, and both of these teams have the pieces to go all the way.
Right. All right. There you have it. And the Raiders are going to lose.
Yeah, sorry,
Bold statement. Sorry, man. Yeah. All right, so let's move into the NBA now. We've got the Bulls talk again. Finally, people are coming to their senses about the Chicago Bulls and what they are. They are garbage. They're 18-18. They're like 9.5 games back in the division. Obviously, the NBA is, not to quote Dennis Green too much, it is what we thought it was, honestly. It's the top. You've got the top teams, and then there's everybody else. There's a huge gap here, people.
We've talked about it countlessly. There's 4 teams maybe with a shot at a title. And we've talked about Cavaliers, we talked about Golden State, we talked about the Clippers, and we talked about the Spurs, because you can never count out the Spurs with pop. So the Bulls are in that bad area down there where you don't want to be a team that doesn't have enough superstars to contend. And if they somehow squeak their way into the playoffs, that's just bad for them.
Now, speaking of, the Bulls and not having superstars, Jimmy Butler, there's rumors he could be on the move. They could be shopping him. Now, we want to talk to you about what package should the Bulls look for. And essentially, Corey, you want a lot of draft picks, correct?
Yeah, I do. In the NBA, when you make trades, unfortunately, you have to match that yearly salary for salary. So the Bulls would have to take on salary back. In my perfect world, the Bulls would take on a bunch of expiring one-year contracts to match the money Jimmy Butler's making, and then once they're free agents, you have all that cap space, and you're going to suck, and you're going to get a higher pick.
For me, it's clear cut who they should trade him to. It's Boston. Boston has, let me read these first round picks. This season they've got the Nets. The Nets are awful, so that's going to be a high pick. 2018, the Nets and their own pick. 2019, they've got their pick, Memphis' pick, and the Clippers' pick. And then in 2020, they've got their first round pick, so it goes back to normal. That's just an abundance of first round picks, and they've got even more second round picks. So you could stack up picks. But if you just want to go for like one or two picks, I think Marcus Smart, Jay Crowder, and Amir Johnson, who's one of those expiring, I believe he's expiring, and then one or two first-round picks. I think that right there would be my ideal package because Jay Crowder is so good on defense. He's a guy that you could draft a highly touted superstar out of college, and then you have Crowder there who plays defense just like Butler. His scoring's not up to par with that, but He's good. I love Jay Crowder. He's so good. And Marcus Smart, no one knows really what he is yet because Isaiah Thomas just outshines him in Boston. So maybe he would like a change of scenery, maybe more playing time with, Michael Carter-Williams. They could split minutes there. I mean, the Bulls would have more options at point guard because Rajon Rondo, sorry, you're going out the door.
Yeah, Rajon Rondo just played his way out of Chicago. But anywho, the way it goes is, again, it doesn't really matter where Jimmy Butler ends up. If we're focused on what the Bulls are, again, you don't want to be good enough to make the playoffs. And unfortunately, Jimmy Butler is good enough to where he's giving you a chance to make the playoffs. And it's not fruitful long term to not.
It's not smart either.
It's really not to not have the superstar power on a team to win a title, but try to win 45 games every year and get into the playoffs as a 4 or 5 seed. That's not what you want to be doing. So getting rid of Jimmy Butler is ultimately the best thing for the team and will be the best thing 4 or 5 years down the road.
And I think you could trade. Boston would be my number one, but you could look to Minnesota. Obviously, Thibs is there. He knows Butler. He would love to bring in Jimmy Butler. Maybe you can trade, Chris Dunn, Andrew Wiggins, and maybe a pick in that.
I don't think anybody's given up Andrew Wiggins.
I don't know. You just never know.
Okay.
Ever.
When the draft, when Chris Dunn was drafted by the T-Wolves in the last draft, NBA draft, there were rumors that as soon as he was picked, he would be flipped for Jimmy Butler. That's how it was kind of working, and the deal ultimately fell through. But we know the Bulls like Chris Dunn. We know Tibbs loves guys he can drive into the ground, and Jimmy Butler is one of those guys who's done it before with Tibbs. There's some familiarity there, and Minnesota is an up-and-coming young team who, Jimmy Butler wouldn't be the number one on that team in coming years. He'd probably be the 2 or the 3 because you got Towns there. You got Wiggins there, and you could build a championship team with Jimmy Butler as part of that in Minnesota, and Tibbs is the coach. I think that would work out for both sides ultimately. But again, the Bulls are just in such a bad shape.
And like I said, I've been saying this for 6 months or so, whatever, since last offseason. You can't trade Derek and not trade Jimmy. Derek, by the way, looking pretty nice.
Yeah, he's been staying relatively healthy in New York.
Looking pretty nice in New York. I saw the video of one of his marquee crossover to the baseline and just go slam it home. And I was like, wow, that looks good.
Would have been nice to have it here and not have him be such a little girl here, but.
Oh boy. All right. Well, that's really what we got for you guys this week. Not too much happening really. Obviously, baseball is pretty dry. Nothing's really happening yet in NFL free agency because obviously the playoffs are still going. NBA, our team's kind of bad, so we know there's no parity in the league. But hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. It really helps us grow. We got that merch like we talked about in the beginning. Make sure you check that out at teespring.com/themomsbasement. Super cheap stuff. Hopefully you guys go out and support us. We really appreciate that. I think our goal, we need like 25 more, orders or items purchased to complete our goal. So if you guys could help us reach that goal, that would be great. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers that you don't like, tell your coworkers that you do like. just tell everybody. We really appreciate it. And once again, we did join the Crossover Report.
Yep.
So make sure you guys are checking them out on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and at their website, crossoverreport.com. A lot of great stuff from them. So many funny articles. Really good guys there. Paul has been talking to me. So thank you, Paul, for the opportunity. And that's all I got, Corey.
I'm good, man.
You're good? How'd it feel? Be back.
It's been a while, shaking off the cobwebs a little bit, shaking off the dust.
Sure.
We're getting there. We're
2017, it's been a while for sure, but happy to be back, and we will see you guys some other time.
Okay, I don't hear them things they say about us. Thank you, mama, thank you, papa. All the things you taught us made us stronger. I just try to make you prouder. They sleep on me constantly, I wake them up. You think I was in a monogamy, cause I ain't never gave a fuck. Feel like how the hell we make it here? Every time the ball drive, I just tell my favorite, and I don't ever fumble. Got the job to take it there. On a couple Lakers out in LA like a Laker, Don't bother calling, won't bother texting. Pray they get the message. Hey, I'm